Welcome to the Idaho Business Podcast, the only Idaho podcast focused on providing profits for Idaho people. If you love our state and love small business, you are in the right place. We interview local legends, learn business, and have way too much fun doing it. You're listening to the Idaho Business Podcast with your friend, host, and all-around great guy and owner of New Clean Commercial Cleaning, Spencer Ward.
All right, everyone. Welcome back to the Idaho Business Podcast, where I don't say this enough, but our tagline is providing profits for Idaho people. In light of that, we're really, obviously we've been focused on that all along, but we're going to be using that more and more as we go forward. As we're always sponsored by Health West, these guys are great. Give them a Google, find out where they're closest to you throughout Idaho, and see how they can help you and your family and your loved ones. So in light of this, knowing, hey, we're here for you to help you in your business and your teams be more profitable so you can make more money, your teams can make more money, you can advance in your careers. Let's talk about KPIs today. And everyone's like, okay, these are big business acronyms, and sometimes your eyes roll back in your head and you're like, okay, this is gonna be boring talk. It's not. It's actually very sexy talk when you start thinking, if I can measure more in my business, I can manage more. Maybe you're thinking, I don't want to manage more. Well, look at your profit margins right now. Where are they at? Are they in the crapper? Maybe that's why. Because you're not measuring anything. You're thinking, you know what? I could use a few more dollars in my account at the end of the month. Then let's talk. Let's talk about how we can provide more profits for you guys. And I'm telling you guys all this from a standpoint of I've been in a situation where I didn't think I was going to make it through because I didn't know my numbers. I wasn't measuring anything. I was trusting other people, thinking they were doing things. And now to now measuring everything that I can get my hands on, knowing exactly what I need to be looking at to know exactly the result I need to be achieving every month. So I know if my KPIs, key performance indicators, are in certain realms, I'm going to have a good month. Even during the middle of the month, I know, hey, this month's going to be great. I don't have to wait until my bookkeeper reconciles the books that following month to decide, am I going to have a good month or not? Or I don't know. It's a crapshoot, let's roll those dice. You don't have to live that way anymore. And you can know day to day how things are going by tracking certain things. So let's talk about some of that kind of stuff. So, for example, key performance indicators, and we're going to have a guest on here in a couple of weeks who I feel like is going to be a phenomenal person to talk more about key performance indicators. But for now, you're going to have to deal with me. You got to make them specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So if you're an HVAC company, for example, and you're doing sub $500,000 a year in sales, you can't just go to your sales guys and say, okay, you need to be doing 100,000 in sales every month for the rest of the year. Come on, that's not achievable. Is it measurable? Yeah. Was it specific? Sure. Maybe not as specific in a way of like how to go about that. If you have good salesmen, they'll have, a plan to put together that they can try to achieve something like that. And is it relevant in helping your business move forward? Yeah, it's relevant, but are you going to ostracize a lot of people, your sales staff and other people in your company, if that actually comes through? Do you have the manpower if they actually did come through with those goals, those KPIs, and they did sell 100,000 in HVAC units or services every month? Do you have the manpower to go behind those salespeople to say, okay, yeah, well, we can get all these orders fulfilled this month. Okay, so make them measurable and realistic goals. Okay. Like I said, I've been there before. My industry right now, like our main industry is in the cleaning industry. It's very labor intensive. So we really keep track of our labor hours. People are paid hourly. We bid our jobs according to how many hours we think it's going to take. So we have actual hours and scheduled hours. And we know that for the day, the month, the day, the week, and the month of actual hours that we're scheduling out. Now we measure very closely the actual hours compared to the scheduled hours compared to the actual hours worked. And if we find that there's a job that there's actual hours are going well beyond the scheduled hours, and it's looking like it's not getting any better, then we realize, okay, maybe we did something wrong in the bidding process. Maybe we didn't understand something, or maybe our team misunderstood something and is doing something different with the scope of work. Maybe they're doing something more than they shouldn't be. So those things you have to take care of. But we know if they are within a certain percentage, we're going to have a good month. But that also, that just goes right into a monetary value. That doesn't take into account of, all of our employees could get the jobs done under the scheduled hours every month. That'd be fantastic. Great. Even more money in our pockets. Great. Perfect. But our customers can be happy because we're bidding these aggressively, giving our people just enough time to do these jobs without having to run. And if they're not spending the time they should be spending, then our customers getting the quality of work that they should be getting. And at times, as a side note, things aren't as dirty as they always are. And sometimes it's a lighter night, and sometimes they do get out early, and sometimes they get out a little later. But you have to keep track of, okay, how many customer complaints are we getting on a monthly basis? Okay, we're averaging this many complaints. We've got to get it down to this many complaints. So all these are KPIs, key performance indicators of how your company's doing over a period of time. If you're in sales, okay, how many units are we going to sell a month? This is an example of KPIs in sales. Monthly sales growth, monthly customer per sales rep, monthly customers per sale rep, quarterly sales bookings, numbers of engaged leads and sales funnels, average conversion times. In marketing, you'd be looking at monthly website traffic, page likes and comments, and social media engagement rates, number of new monthly leads, click-through rates and percentage. And honestly, I'll say something right here. Page likes and comments, I would almost put a line through that because those are vanity numbers. The real numbers are coming through click-through rate percentage and number of new monthly leads and the engagement rate. Those are the sexy numbers when it comes to marketing online. And obviously you want to make sure you got the traffic. Your monthly website traffic's got to be high enough to be able to funnel down into those engagement numbers, into the monthly new leads numbers and your click-through rates. Those don't exist without monthly traffic. And that all comes with spending some money. So knowing if I'm spending X amount of money this week, this month, or this week, this is how many engagements I get, or this is how many new leads I get from this much money every month or week, whatever it is that you're measuring. And this is my click-through rate. And then once you get that dialed in, I know, hey, I'm getting this many new leads off of X amount of dollars. And I know after they become a lead, my lead that converts into actual sales is maybe, let's say 60%, or maybe it's 30%, or whatever it is. Then a percentage that translates from leads to sales, and then you have a number to go off of. So if you're bringing in an X amount of leads, you're going to have X amount of sales. So I have to spend this much money every month to grow by X, because it's going to bring in so many leads, and that's going to generate so many sales. Because that because it's like clockwork. because you have those numbers set up. It may deviate a little bit over the months, but once you have a track record of seeing those are measurable things that you can say, okay, that's where people go wrong with marketing. And I don't want to get too far off on this tangent. They spend, maybe a couple $100, $500 to $1,000 in a month. And they're like, okay, it's going to bring in some big leads. And they don't see anything the first month or second month. And then they start getting frustrated and they cut marketing. It takes a little bit of time to get these understanding and get these trends built up. So okay, what's working, what's not working, what call to action's working, what's not working. And then you get that point of, okay, especially if you have a good marketing person at the helm, they know how to track these things. They know what they're looking for. They know what they're trying to accomplish. And then they can say, okay, hey, you give me $2,000 every month, and I'm going to guarantee you another $5,000 a month in business. Would you invest in that? You give a marketing guy $2,000 and he's going to give you $5,000 a month in business. You do that every day. So, but too many of us are thinking, oh, it's $2,000. It's just marketing. We look at it in a wrong way because we're not tracking things in a key performance indicator. We're not tracking, understanding the results of what we're spending. So it's not as sexy to us knowing, okay, I'm spending this much, but I know my return on investment is X times that number. So just a good example of a KPI in marketing. If you're in human resources, you could be tracking monthly overtime hours, quarterly training cost, cost per new hire, employee productivity, monthly absenteeism rate. All those things could be tracked. Those are KPIs for human resources. And that's important. Cost per new hire. That's a big one, especially if you're in a high turnover industry or whatever the turnover is. Especially nowadays, your turnover is higher than it ever has been. I'm sure it has, or sure it is. So knowing that number for human resources is going to be big for you. What is your true cost of bringing on a new employee, and that helps you understand, like, okay, maybe what's going wrong with that situation? Why are we losing more people? Maybe we can fix our onboarding process. Maybe we don't have to just stick them in a room by themselves and make them watch hours and hours of videos. Maybe there's something better to be doing for these people than just doing something like that. What worked 5-10 years ago isn't going to work today. It's a different breed of people out there. Now, when it comes to customer service for KPIs, these are obviously some more examples: customer satisfaction score, customer retention rate, monthly support ticket submissions, average resolution times, cost per resolution. These are all sorts of things that you can be tracking in your businesses. Obviously, when you're a smaller business, you're not going to have all these different departments. You are those departments. But still, knowing these things and knowing what to be tracking is key for you. So you can track, you can measure, and you can be profitable. Too many of us are keeping non-profitable customers because we're thinking, and some of us don't even know they're not profitable. But even those that maybe do know they're not profitable, we just see, wow, they pay us this much money a month. I can't say goodbye to that much money a month, even though I know deep down in my heart, I know I'm not making any money from this customer. I can't lose that much money coming in my business account every month. Let me tell you a story. I had a large customer, probably 5 years ago, large at the time. And it was still large today. It's still a good sized customer to me, what it'd be today. And at the time, I thought I knew my numbers. And through help of a consultant and stuff like that, I realized, shoot, I am not making money, if any money, on this account. But it's cost me a lot of labor, cost me a lot of time, and a lot of effort to service this account. So after I had found out my true numbers and realizing, man, I am doing this for like Napoleon Dynamite, it's like $1 an hour. That's when I realized, my consultant helped me realize that, hey, if you raise them, obviously you got to raise their prices. You got to raise their prices so you can be profitable And obviously you can service them better. You can give them better service, because obviously you can give better service if you're being more profitable, because you feel better about the situation. You have more resources at your disposal to provide them a better experience. I went to raise the prices. They didn't like it. We parted ways. But guess what happened? Yeah, I lost that revenue source. The revenue number, everyone thinks is so sexy to have that big revenue number. And that kind of hurt me, because that was my vanity number of like, oh man, that's a big number. I don't get to see that every month. But guess what happened to my bottom number, my net profitability? That number went way up. Not way up, but you know what I mean. It went up. I saw more money at the end of the month without that account, without that customer. And obviously you want to keep customers, you want to keep them happy, but you got it. It's better to lose a winner than to keep a loser. And that is a quote from one of my consultant, Mike Campion. He's been great, and he's very wise when it comes to that kind of stuff. So that has helped me dramatically throughout my business life, realizing, you know what, at times you've got to know it's better to raise prices so you can provide a better service, and it's going to help you actually put food on your table for your family. How many times are we getting done with the month thinking, okay, our employees are paid, insurance is paid, fuel for our vehicles are paid, all this other stuff is paid, all of our overheads paid, cost of goods sold is paid, and now there is a few dollars in the account for me to take home for my family. Everyone, too many people think, business ownership is this grandeur thing, and we get to set our own hours, all this kind of stuff. We get to do what we want. Yeah, you can, great. But if there's no money at the end of the day, what are you actually doing? You just own your job, and you're killing yourself for nothing. So it's sexy to be profitable. So turn your focus from the revenue number that you have in your mind of, oh, this is my revenue goal for the year 2024. And this is what I'm focusing on, to, hey, what is my percentage of profit? Number one, fix that first. Fix where your percentage of profit is. And I've said this before, but my CPA and good friend, Dan Packard, he works for Cooper Norman, and he's a partner there. Brilliant guy. He has promised anyone who gets a hold of him and mentions that they heard about him on the podcast, he will run a report for you. And it's a report of averages across the nation of what is the standard percentage of net profitability in your industry. And that will help. That'd be a good starting point if you have absolutely no idea. If you're part of some trade groups and you know what that should be, are you there? Are you close to it? Or are you far away from it? So if you're far away from it or you're close to it, at this point, let's stop with the top line revenue goals. Let's fix this goal first. And let's fix all the other things above that. So we know, hey, I know when I bid now, I have to do X, Y, and Z better and add to it. So when I bid, I know that bottom line number, a percentage, is going to be there. Because what's good to have, what's so good about having this top line revenue number that's so sexy at the end of the day, there's nothing to take home to support your loved ones. Nothing. So track what you need to track, focus on what you need to focus on, and instill some of these key performance indicators, those KPIs in your business, so you can be successful, so you can take home more profit from your business, and eventually you can sell that business. Because no one in their right mind is going to buy a business that's not profitable. Like, I know many of us like to run our things, personal stuff through the business to take advantage of tax codes and stuff like that. It's great. I'm just talking about, though, are you profitable even if you take those out and you do that kind of stuff, and there still should be money at the end of the day that you're actually bringing money home and transferring money into your personal accounts, not just, hey, I'm running this and this and this through my business. Or if you're obviously, you're not a business owner, you're a business leader, if you're tracking things and generating more income and not just income, like we've talked about, but more profit for your organization, you're in a better position when it comes to review time and asking for raises and that kind of stuff. I mean, most of the time, you're probably not going to have to ask. You're going to, they know you're going to deserve it. They're going to want to keep you around because you're an asset to the company. So hope you can understand these things. It took me years to understand these things, people, and I'm still learning them. I'm not brilliant. That's why I've partnered with other people who are brilliant in numbers. But I live my life off of percentages. That's why I've told everyone. I don't really look at diving deep and stuff. I run my profit and profit and loss statement every month, and then I do that sub column and I put percentage of income next to everything. So I know I look at percentages next to every line item, and I know where they should be. And that's how I'm tracking things. And then obviously there's things throughout the week and throughout the day that I'm looking at, so I know that we're on par to be profitable for the month. Have we had bad months even recently? Yeah, we have. But now, well, I'm tracking even more. I'm tracking even more vigilantly, and obviously we know what we can do to better ourselves, and also to provide a better service for our customers. And that's what it comes down to at the end, because if you're not doing that, you're not going to have a business much longer, because they're going to find other people that can provide a better service than you. So do that. Be happy, be grateful, find opportunities to serve others, track, measure, so you can manage, and you can bring home the bacon and bring home those profits. So adios, have a great week, and go dominate.
Congratulations on spending a couple of minutes getting a little bit smarter, having some fun, and supporting the Idaho business community. If you're feeling the love, make sure to subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you are.